want to welcome back Miss Glynis. I can't tell you how much this woman warms my heart. Whenever Dana and I talk to Glynis, I have so much energy and we're so aligned, but she comes from these really great perspectives. And as you know, Glynis, we always have new listeners. So we do really want to talk about what you do, which are fabulous. This is your wheelhouse. You're a numerologist.
Yes.
And you are, I mean, every time we've talked to you and every time you've done work for us and give us our numbers, it's always right freaking on. It's almost, I'm going to say the
Scary.
it is. It's spooky, awesome. To me, you're bringing science and spirituality and the universe all together. So can you give us some insights that we may see in the next few months here? Because, you know, we have a lot in front of us as Americans, especially, which also affects, of course, the entire world. The U.S. is pretty much that, you know, pebble in the pond, as we would say. So let us know. Bring it on, girl.
Well, first I have to jump in and say, I love your haircut, Deb, because I do. It's so cute. Just very fun. Very, you know, today having a good time. So I had to say something. And what I would tell you, let's just say quickly, because yes, it's true. You do have people who jump in, because I get emails where they say, I really don't understand numerology. I mean, I caught you with Deb and Dana, but please tell me more. So I want to just say, numerology itself, it's a science of numbers. The one I use is the Pythagorean number system. It's 2,500 years old. And the belief is that everything in the universe has vibration. So that's certainly true for people. And that's why when you meet people say, oh, I don't like this person, or you're like, oh my gosh, that person gave me a bad vibe. And I know, Deb, this is your wheelhouse because you feel energy constantly. And if anything, you have to shut it down. So what I teach is that, yes, it's true, but it's also buildings. When you're in a building, you're like, whoa, something's wrong here. Or you walk in and go, oh, I could live here. This is great. It's all vibration. And that's what I teach. And of course, I wrote the book, Glynis Has Your Number, which I consider a buffet of numerology because it dabbles in everything. And then I wrote Love by the Numbers, which is to help you find great love. And if you're in a relationship already, how do you improve it? That's what I teach, so the power of numbers. Yeah.
We love your book.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, is there's a specific section in our program, The Solution, the life coaching or spiritual coaching program that Deb teaches. This is their assignment, is to grab your book and we go into the numbers, your system and what you teach. So it's fantastic.
And for the students of ours that they love the spreadsheets and the numbers, these are the engineers, the accountants, they lean into this and really love it. And they start getting so excited. They just take the lead. It's fabulous.
Well, and numbers, what happens is for those it resonates with, because we're all different, but when it does, they talk to you. And I do want to say that. People often ask me, why do I keep seeing this number pattern? Why does it keep following me around? So here's an example, your birthday. Do either of you see your birthday? Do you ever see your birthday on the clock or anything like that? Month and day?
Not really.
I will see mine occasionally.
Yeah, you see it occasionally. So let me tell you what it means. Like I never used to see my birthday. And then I started seeing it the last couple of years. And what it means is the universe is checking in with you. It's like saying, what are you doing with your life? Are you happy? Are you on the right track? What are you doing to bring yourself joy? So Deb, when you see it, it's checking in to see how it's going. Because again, when you deal with a lot of people and you deal with a lot of energy, you got to be careful not to lose sight of yourself, right? You're so caught up. And this is true for you too, Dana. You have so many deadlines, suddenly you're in the back seat of your own life. And if you see your birthday, it's reminding you, stop that. This is your life. Make choices for you. So if you haven't been on a vacation, go ahead.
Mine will come up, like I'll wake up at night and it'll be my birthday. To me, that's really paying attention, because you're waking up at that time. It's sort of like the 2x4 versus just looking at the clock during the day, even though that happens. To me, when it happens when I'm asleep and wake up, the universe is like, hello.
Right. It is talking to you and it's reminding you. It's almost like also saying, be yourself. Because sometimes, let's say we do business with someone who's a challenge or toxic to us in numerology. That means we lose sight of ourselves. Like we find ways to try to talk to them so they understand. But if it gets so bad that they're really not hearing you, I encourage you to move on and trust the process. Believe it's possible to do even better. You know, when you clear that space, you're giving yourself a chance to bring new vibration in. So
Yeah.
the other thing that happens, of course, the famous one is 11:11. People
Mhm.
often see 11:11 a.m. or 11:11 p.m. And what I learned long ago, that when you look at those lines, it's doorways, doorway of opportunity. So
Oh,
which door are you going through? So that's
Mhm.
fun. And I've actually had people heal, like one gal, her husband broke up with her. I mean, they had been fighting, but she loved him. I said, well, you're not going to talk him into taking you back. That's not going to happen. I said, but you could focus on 11:11 a.m. and 11:11 p.m. and just focus on that we heal our love, that we find our way back, that all the good that brought us together can come back. 6 weeks later, he calls her and says, look, I want to give this another chance. And she didn't talk to him. Now she wanted to talk to him daily. I'm like, you're not doing it. You focus on that prayer, you focus on affirming, and it worked. So
wow.
that's awesome. Anyone can use that for a job, trying to find a home, whatever's on your mind. 11:11, take advantage. But the other one is when numbers follow you around, like 111, 222, 555. By the way, Deb, I have to ask, do you ever see 222?
I'm probably not coming to mind, but I may not be paying attention. You know how that is. We get
Always.
squirrel, right. But am I supposed to be seeing 222? Is
No,
that
no. What now
okay.
that I've told you, you're going to see it all the time. That's
Okay.
going to be my guess.
That's what I
But
can
I'm
pay
just letting you
attention.
know, the fact is you have double two in your chart, so it's already a part of you. You know,
Okay.
like it already resonates with you. But two is in touch with spirit, and I
Mhm.
already know your gift. As I get so excited, I haven't even had coffees, ladies.
I don't think
want
you're
to
allowed,
box-
Glynis. You're not allowed to have coffee, Glynis.
I shouldn't. I would bounce off the ceiling. But I want to say with your double two, two is spirit energy always. So,
Mm.
example, the 2 and the 7, you also have a 7 born on a 7 day. It's God energy. So it's like, okay, yes, I am the vehicle, but all my information comes through me. So if you see
Wow.
222, it's just tapping into that spirit energy.
Okay.
So maybe a reading client, you look and oh, it's 222. Make a note of it. And like I said, because it's already within you and you
Mhm.
are actively using it, it may be why you don't see it. But
Or I'm seeing
most of my
420.
clients do.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
may be seeing 22, but maybe in a different way, even where.
Yes.
So that's what I'm thinking. I am seeing it because I pay attention to numbers after meeting you. I really am more aware because I know
Yes.
that there's signs and people talk about them in their sessions. I keep seeing this number. What does this mean? What does this mean? So it is now in our, in our
And
radar.
it's good to know. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's good to know what is the message. So if you keep it simple, if I say 111, if one is ambition and is pushing you forward, maybe you've just been lazy. You know, you stop working. Well, it happens, but 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. So it's saying, don't just be ambitious. Find a way to communicate and have fun with it. If we're
Mm.
not laughing, we're done, right?
Yeah,
It's the
for
truth. If you
sure.
can't find a way to get silly, game over. So there's
Mhm.
that. And then that's why I said about the 2. But if it's 333, maybe you're writing a book or something. The 3 is saying, okay, remember, no matter what you write, it's to motivate and uplift others. That has to be a part of your book. And then when you add it all up, it's a 9. So if you start feeling insecure or critical of yourself, it could be issues from the past, from
Yeah.
your family. So you can let it go. Right.
And we're
So,
rewriting this, we're rewriting the second book or a second book. And I am looking at the past of stuff. So that's right in alignment.
yes. And then, lest we ever forget, you're a 9 life path. So, again, it's a part of who you are. Now, mind you, there's a lot of 9s, right? And we had a private conversation recently, the 3 of us, or I guess it was just Dana, but I said, pass it on. But the
Mhm.
energy of 9, the positive side of 9 is lovely. It's the old soul. Yeah, I think of them on a mountain, cross-legged with a candle, just meditating for world peace. That's the purity of 9. It's like, I just want goodness. The shadow side of 9 is resentment. And it's not that they don't have a leg to stand on. Maybe they had lousy parents, but they have to let it go. The only way a 9's happy is if they're in the moment. Then they're
Mhm.
great. But if they live in that mind, they revisit the past, and it's like a TV show. They can see all of it. They remember all the
Dana's
details.
laughing. Dana's laughing because yes, that's what
Yes.
you're saying. Glynis. I'll own it. I was even talking to Dana yesterday or day before yesterday about that ego and the shadow work and how sometimes it just sucks us in.
Oh
And
yeah.
even though I know this and I teach it, it doesn't mean I'm not going to be able to. I have my work as well, right? We have a
Yeah.
work.
But that is, by the way, is the only way you can be a teacher.
Mhm.
Anybody, I always say, if you've had a perfect life, it's all come together. Don't you dare teach. You're
Right.
wasting your time. You have to have had enough things happen in your life where you finally go, whoa, that really hurt me. And then you have compassion. You have empathy when you hear someone else's story. And then all that information you research, and Dana, you're definitely a part of this one, digging for the research and the information, then you can pass it on happily and say, you don't have to be there. You don't have to be miserable. Here's some tools. But of course, it's going to go right back to you, Deb. Sometimes you'll think, have I grown at all? How am I so miserable in this moment? Oh, yeah, I'm going to put on music. I'm going to dance. I'm going to get silly. I'm going to go to the movies or go to dinner. I'm in my head too much. And
I think you're sitting, Glynis, in our conversations. This is, a little spooky. You're right there. There's three of us, I think, at dinner.
Yes. And that's what happens for me. Like when I interpret energy and certainly have the numerology blueprint of somebody, it's a dear diary. I see it all. And I was thinking, I started at this in my 20s, but back then I was doing stand-up comedy because I'm way past funny. And I would add punchlines to the numbers, right? Like I would just make jokes. I could say, oh, you're one life path, ambitious, driven, but sometimes you overdrink. I said, and then the next morning when you wake up in that crowded bed, you're like, so where are you guys all from? Well, the audience, of course, loved it, but then they come up later and say, God, but everything you said before the punchline was accurate. And now when I do reads, forget about it. It is the most clear, open channel ever. So just like you, Deb, you're like, whoa, were you eavesdropping on our conversation? Because you were covering everything we just covered. That's the gift. And that's the unique gift, right? Because the numbers are there, learning to interpret, but then the third eye, when that opens up, wow, it's a blessing. Yeah.
Well, so the numbers are fascinating. And I know you shared a little bit about Deb, but so we're in the throes of this whole chaotic time, right? What are you seeing for us as the US, as the world over the next 3 weeks, few months?
Right. So here's what's happening. And if we go back to January, and I know we touched into this, so people went back to an interview we've done, I made it very clear that 2024 was not going to be an easy ride. So you break it down, 2 + 0 + 2 + 4 is 8. And 8 is the political number. It literally is a political number. Like that's one part of its trait, because when an 8 feels strongly, they hold their position, right? So whatever that position may be. When I said that, I actually said it last year. And then as we entered the year, I looked something up and it said that 4 billion people on this planet were voting. And that was more than ever in the history. And I thought, whoa, how powerful is that? So what it really represented, we do have a chance to make this world what we want it to be. So when people feel like a victim, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. And they've made us fearful of the other side. Which I find remarkable, because when P.S., I will bring this up about Joe Biden. When it's all said and done, the history books will be very good to him. And here's why. He has double 2 in his chart, born on a 2-day, 2 life path. He is the president who could cross the aisle. And he's done it throughout this whole dramatic time. Here we're caught up in the minutia, and then boom, there's a headline. Biden just passed a bill, bipartisan bill. We're like, he did? So that's what's remarkable. So I look for that in people. Anyone who's willing to work on both sides is someone I would always value.
I got chills, Glynis. That was
right.
Me too.
That's our job. And if you'll notice, there's no ego in that. See, because you've never seen Joe run out and say, look what I did. If anything, he should have, but he just didn't. That's not how he rolls. But it's still in the books, because history will come. It's going to be quite the story for him, in that he was able to work with both sides and come to agreement. So then and this world number 8, it likes conflict. You know, this is the shadow side. It likes to be in your face. It can be sarcastic. But here's the thing, by year's end, which November is to me, November, December's year's end, last quarter, we finally say, okay, well, wait a second. What do you stand for? What really matters to you? And then it's about getting up and doing something about it. There's those people sitting on the couch saying, oh, my vote doesn't count. That is ridiculous. Yes, right. I get that seeds have been planted about the crookedness of voting, but if you do your research, it's not the case. And I know we are more aware than ever since 2020, right? Because now it matters more that we just make sure every vote is legit and that we get it done. So I see a huge turnout in that way, and I have loved watching the early voting, right? It's over 14 million Americans already did it.
I saw that and I was like, wow,
it's movement and it's our country, right? So again, no matter what side you believe you are on, it's still about all of us finding a way to work together. Because if we don't do that, we're done. They say that the United States of America, this whole philosophy was an experiment. Well, experiments can fail. So are we going to keep it? Or are we going to let it fail? And I remain optimistic.
Yes.
Me too.
Thank goodness. Yeah. I mean, it's just, yes, to all of that. I remember it's fascinating to hear it confirmed, though, the feelings confirmed by the numbers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's all vibration. And I mean, in a way, I could say to you, I saw it as a little unfortunate that the election was in the year of 8 because I knew the shadow side. But it was meant to be, right? We have lessons to learn here. That's what makes us all better. But I will tell you, anyone who has 2 energy in their chart, and you both have that, the 2 feels so deeply. And even though you guys think maybe you're trying to stay focused, you're picking up all this energy.
Oh, yeah.
This vibration's hitting us all hard. So again, that's why, I've been doing this thing where I light my white candle. I really do my affirmations and I get myself to a much happier place. I try to do that daily. You already know that's not always easy to do, right? We get busy. But when I do it, I feel so good. And so now on that note, we can walk through the candidates' numbers because they're interesting. Are you ready?
Yeah, before you get going, the people that are listening that are new, the shadow side or the shadow work is the parts of our lessons of coming here to the planet to work on. So we're putting light on the things we don't like about ourselves, the things we're working on. Because some people go, what is the shadow work? What does this mean? So I just want to make sure that new listeners.
So to make it clearer for me, everyone is a life path. We all have numbers. So we all have a positive and negative side. Right. So when I say shadow, I just simply mean, you have fallen into the shadow side of your number. Right. And that's when people say, oh my gosh, do I have bad numbers? Do I suck? I'm like laughing, going, if you want to go to your shadow side, yeah. I said, but if you can embrace the positive of every single vibration you have, you're a good person. You have the potential to do great things in this lifetime.
I like it. I like the way you explained it.
Negative, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so go ahead and finish. I just wanted to make sure people that are listening kind of could know
that they understand that. Yeah. So just go positive, negative. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say too, so whenever you talk about using, because there are 6 numbers that make up your numerology blueprint, and you're probably going to dive into that.
Yes. That is extremely important. And I'm going to put a thing up for your people. If they just type in Deb in the promo code, they can order their report. They need to look at those numbers. The 6 numbers make up a blueprint of who we are, but there's also a destiny number, which comes from the birth certificate name. And so here's how I do it. If the first 3 numbers come from the name we go by today, and it's a soul number, it's a personality number, it is a power name number. And what does power name mean? It means whatever name you were given, that number is the most powerful part of your name. Now, the day you're born is the 4th number, because it's how you appear. which, by the way, I make a joke about you, Deb, because even though you're really a 9, because you're born on a 7, you're like a hologram. Are you really there? We do not know. We do not know. Yeah, because the 7 knows how to step away. They know how to observe. They can be out of body if they need to be. If they're not comfortable in a situation, like, you know what, I have to get out of my body for a moment here so I can stay, but protect myself. That's 7 energy.
Okay.
And so that would be your 5th number. And then your final number is the life path. Well, the life path number is sacred. You know, if you don't fulfill the life purpose of your life path number, you're not going to be happy. Now, you might have other numbers in that chart that are not like your life path, and you should embrace and look at them. But that life path is key. Then your attitude. I want to bring up a great example on the attitude number. And because, yeah, I've got a bad attitude, good attitude. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. The reason, one, I'm bringing them up for a good reason. They're always in our face. You know, you whether you want to or not, you see them on TV, you might read them in a magazine. But I have kept an eye on them since way back. When they first got together, I knew they were not going to make it down the aisle back then. So sure enough, about a week before, it fell apart. This time around, I saw the numbers to say, okay, they'll get married. But the concern was exactly what's wrong with them already, right? Like, that's the problem. Sometimes you go back with an ex and you think it's going to be great. And then you start to see, oh no, that's what was wrong already.
Right.
So here's what's interesting. People like to blame Jennifer Lopez because that's marriage number 4. You know, she's kind of along the lines of Elizabeth Taylor, you know, looking for love and saying, I do, and then I don't. But here's the difference. Technically, in this case, it's Ben. Ben is the pattern here, and here's why. He's a 6th life path. He's actually double 6, which is magnetic. People are drawn to him, and I've seen him do, sometimes he's pretty great, like films that he's done.
Yeah.
When he played like the autistic guy.
Yep.
Called The Accountant. I mean,
The Accountant,
when he's good, he's phenomenal. And then he's off his track. Well, the 5 is his attitude number. A shadow side of 5 could be gambling. He loves to gamble. Now, they say that he's actually good at it, but I don't even know what that means, because I know too many gamblers who say they're good at it. They end up losing somewhere. They get that streak and then they have to win it back. But the other side is to escape, drinking, drugs, whatever. So he has had issues with drinking for sure, and who knows what else. But what happened this time? He, this year, entered a personal year of 4. And that comes from the 5, and you add it to the number 8, because the world number, right? So it's 5 attitude, 8. 5 plus 8 is 13, 1 plus 3 is 4. Here he enters the cycle of 4, and in her case, because she has a 4 attitude added to the 8, she's in a personal year of 3, so that means she's communicating, and his 4 is like, I'm not listening, I'm not interested, I don't care. And he held his position.
Yeah, even when you would see him with pictures, which I know that
I know.
you could see an attitude. He had an
attitude,
like,
literally.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the pictures were all correct, but just the energetic feeling.
But you saw it. You saw it many times, and in public places, right, where it was maybe Jennifer's chance to shine. It was maybe for her, and he'd have a grimace. He knows he's being photographed, but he didn't care.
That's
but
right.
here's the doozy. The last time he was in a personal year of 4, which was 9 years ago, is when he broke up with his ex-wife, Jennifer. So Jennifer Garner, he was in a cycle of 4 and it fell apart. And now Jennifer Lopez, cycle of 4 falling apart. So in my opinion, it's a mistake. You know, they said that they met at like the Polar Lounge and he was all over. I'm like, buddy, get help. You know, walk through your stuff, because after 20 years, you guys decide to go for it and make a commitment, and you quit within 2 years. Like, if he hung in there, then the cycle continues. Next year would be 5, following year 6. That's what relationships are supposed to be. We're supposed to grow together. Speaking of which, a plug, October 30th, my husband, Charlie, and I, 20-year wedding anniversary.
Yay.
What?
20 years and
congratulations.
Together. Thank you.
Wow, amazing.
It's a big deal. And what makes it a big deal is how much we sincerely, actively love each other. You know, and of course, when you hit a mark like that, you really look back and go, how interesting. Like, where did we grow? You know, what got better? What can we do better down the line? But I'll tell you the biggest key for us, well, first of all, my background stand-up comedy. Charlie has been sleeping with a comedian for 20 years, and he's gotten so funny in a way he never was. So yes, it's our humor and joy that makes all the difference. And we're going to have a celebration November 2nd with, you know, friends that were at that wedding, just to say, hey, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's by the numbers. I did that by the numbers is my bigger point. So when I talk about that blueprint, the fact is Charlie's a 4 life path, which is a challenge to my 3. And a lot of people are like, wow, if the life path's toxic, isn't that a problem? It is if you don't stop and consider it and say, okay, here's where we're different. So what I say to both of you is it's about picking those battles. Sometimes he'll say something, I'm like, Glynis, are you going to fall in? Are you going to fall in? So a lot of times I just don't. And I'm sure Charlie has bit his tongue. He's so cute. Because, you know, what do we call that, Deb, when it's like Hector the projector. We're in a bad mood from somebody else and then we snap at our partner, right? But if the partner realizes it's not personal, they already know what you're going through. That's what Charlie and I try to do. Like I'll say, Glynis, wait a second. You got attitude, but not for me. You know, you're dealing with maybe your sister, your mother, whoever. And he's right. And then
sounds familiar. Deb and I had this last week.
Well, I think we project things or we do things because we feel safe enough to go through our shadow work or go through our stuff. And so,
but we're also hurting. So in that moment, it reminds me of a lion that has a thorn in its foot and it's growling and pissed off. You're like, what's wrong? And then when you remove it, they're okay. So I just go, what's causing you pain right now? Is it me? I don't think so. And that's the same with my husband. Like, he was upset. Our dog had to get surgery. It's horrible, like for the knee, the metal plate. And so it's been work. You know, it's like 2 weeks of only 5 minutes of walking. You got to make sure she doesn't go downstairs. Well, anyway, he got upset. I was giving advice literally to help the dog, but he went off on me thinking I was putting him down. I'm like, wow, this isn't about you at all. It's about the dog. And the minute he got that, like he heard it, he said, oh, that's true. And everything was fine. So that's what I would tell you. The key is to walk through it, but sometimes let it go. Don't, you know, if it's really not worth it, don't do the discussion.
Right. Yeah.
Going back to Dana's question, was it the political figures and their numbers? Is that what we wanted to make sure we cover?
So here, we can keep this simple. I'm going to say a couple things that are simple. I've made it very clear that Donald Trump is in the personal year of 1, and 1 means to win. Now, we've seen him have victories that were surprising, right? The Supreme Court, they really in this moment have made it seem like the president is above the law, which, by the way, cannot stand. Because, I mean, Donald Trump won't be here forever. It's going to be somebody else. We can't have anyone above the law in this country. That's kind of something we pride ourselves on. So I see that changing. Before this moment, it looked like a victory for him, right? We've seen some things like some of the cases we pushed back, one that's been, you know, thrown out, but I'm sure we will see that again. All of that, I think, has to do with 1. But now we go to what is the shadow side of 1, your mouth, what flies out of your mouth. And so I always tell people, you don't have to be critical of Trump by saying, oh, I read this article. No, watch him, listen to him, and then decide. He has been saying some things that have not helped him. Yeah. And that is what I meant. So first you look at 1 and go like even up, to be honest with you, Hillary Clinton, when she was running way back with Barack Obama, she was in a cycle of 1 and she didn't win, meaning Obama got to run for president, but she looked good on paper. And even back then in these primaries, she had the popular vote, like a couple 100,000, but it didn't end the way we would hope for her, right? Or what she would want. So right. But you make a note. So here's what happens with Donald Trump. I will always maintain he is literally an entertainer. Like that is his favorite place to be. He loves the microphone, loves the audience. But being president or any politician is tremendous work. And I do believe that he has seen that this year. Like I don't even think he's able to pretend, oh, gee, I can't wait to get back in that saddle. yes, he wants to be president, but I think it is more challenging now than it ever was before. And you're going to see that. So when I say these numbers to you now, I also tell you in our tape, and we have a couple weeks to go, you're going to see a lot of shifts in those couple weeks. So just grab your bag of popcorn. Do not think something's over here. Yeah,
Okay.
don't bother. And then we go to Kamala Harris. Now, in Kamala's case, she's ultimately a 5 life path born on a 2-day. Now, this is very important. She's in a personal year of 2, which is lucky for her, because the 2 means it's making her look at, well, how do I speak? What do I say? What do I say? I mean, if she's taking time out to do that, if she's a 5 life path, which is never a dull moment, which clearly the woman likes to stay busy, but the downside of being let's say she was a personal year 5, it could be chaotic and crazy and unorganized. You're not seeing that. You're seeing the 2. So that's a part of her. Born on a 2-day, by the way, yeah, her birthday was October 20th. And so that is helping her. Plus she has a 3 attitude. That's month and day, October 20th, 1 + 2 + 0. 3 is just communication, trying to get your point across. And definitely remember the positive side of 3, here to motivate and uplift others. So again, you may not want to vote for her. You may love Trump and you're gonna, but you cannot say that she's not trying to get the point across to motivate and uplift others. And that's what I listen for in numerology. I listen for the vibration talking. Okay, and so going to the vice presidents that they picked, J.D. Vance, what's interesting about J.D., like when he did that last debate, he seemed warmer, right? He made the effort to try to talk. Again, whether you agree or not, he had a way about him that made people feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Meaning even Republicans that were concerned about him, because the whole eating cats and dogs, which, by the way, what did I just say? The one has to watch out what flies out of their mouth.
Yeah.
When Trump was in debate and said they're eating the dogs in Springfield, it was shocking and crazy, and yet it hurt Springfield, Ohio. Those Haitians who came here legally have suffered for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those things have to be considered. So JD, he's the one who also pushed that narrative, but then he said, look, we'll push anything if we can get attention to immigration. See, so he actually admitted it wasn't necessarily true as much as at least the media paid attention. Well, one has to consider that. But what's interesting, he's born on a 2-day and he's a 5. So you know his ambition. You know he wants to be president. There's just no getting around that. But he has a 1 attitude, which means got to be careful. See, I didn't say she has a 3 attitude, which is that the laughter. Think of her laughter. 3s love to laugh, right? The 1 is running the race. What do I do to win? So you're seeing that. Now we go to Tim Walz. Tim Walz, as everyone would agree, has been a surprise, because the minute he came on that world stage, he was good. He did his thing. His what do you call it? Approval stuff jumped up. People enjoyed him. And then when they went after him and they found out he one could call it a lie, but like 25 years ago, he said something he did that he didn't quite do. Well, smart enough, he said, look, it was 25 years ago. I misspoke. I screwed up. Sorry, but that's not today. Here's where I am. And he is a governor. So you're able to look at what he's accomplished or not. But what is he? He's a 3 life path. So what did I just say? Whenever he speaks, he says, it's about you guys. What can I do to help you? That's typical 3. And then he's born on a 6, which is where coach comes in. See, because the coach is like, I'll take care of you. It's father energy. And you can feel that in him. And you know what's funny? He looks so much older than Kamala Harris. They're born the same year.
Wow, really?
They really are. 1964.
I had no idea.
Just turned 60. So that's what I mean. How do we live our life? Now, what does he have? He also has a 1 attitude to run the race, just like JD. So what I would tell you, like as the counselor of numerology when it comes to these people, the fact is Donald Trump and J.D. Vance's life path are a challenge in numerology. So that would take work, but the work means on both sides. They both have to work on that. Otherwise, it's possible J.D. could say something or do something that Trump wouldn't expect it, and vice versa. That's one. In the case of Kamala and Tim, their life paths are compatible. And you see it. You've seen it on the trail. First of all, they're
Mhm.
always together. And when you see the joy and the laughter. So that's the numbers. And then when people say, well, what do you see? Like, who's got the advantage? Because I believe that overall this country does want to be optimistic for a future, because we all have that side of us that can have hatred and resentment and want to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
But that is a low frequency vibration. And I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with the higher frequency. So I maintain it is true. Kamala Harris has an edge in vibration, but now we have to see what that translates into. Meaning there are shenanigans going on right now. You can't dispute it. And we got a couple weeks to go before then. But that is where I stand. And I'm happy that Kamala Harris and Tim found each other.
Yeah.
And I think in Donald Trump's case, Donald, it really is a one-man band. He doesn't really like he even said, VPs don't do much. They're nothing really. It's about me.
Mhm.
So you see, whereas Tim is a part of that ticket with Kamala Harris. But that's
Yeah,
just the
very
way
much
it was.
so.
It was designed to be. And that's why I said, anybody who wants one of this group to win, you get out and vote.
Yeah.
Again, don't sit there saying, oh, it's too late. It's not going to happen. Oh, gee, if Kamala Harris has the edge, I'm not going. It's not like that.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
about you and what you want here in the United States. This
so-
was true everywhere, by the way.
Yeah.
All over these countries, everywhere throughout the world, it's the same idea.
The
Mhm.
question when you said about shenanigans, is it because we've got 3 weeks left or whenever this is, posted out there, that there's going to be that intensity of trying to get the votes, that's where the shenanigans are going to happen, like the intensity?
It's even worse than that.
Mhm.
There are people that want to stir this pot. It's almost as if they're not rooting for America. Some people aren't. And then I have to say, there's a certain billionaire, I won't say his name. Anyway, it's X and it's Elon Musk. But anyway, the fact that he's willing to put his money out there and say, hey, I'll give you money if you, that breaks my heart. And I'm not kidding. That goes to a time we never had here. So I
Right.
think, sometimes when life is so crazy, people get numb. They don't want to read it anymore. They don't want to hear it. But this is not a time to get numb.
Right.
This is a time to be vigilant. And October is one energy. That's actually good for all of us because it does wake you up. It does make you pay attention. And then come November, it's two energy, intuition. What is my decision? What am I going to do? So yeah, that's what I mean. We have to find a way to get everyone out of this, except the candidate, the presidential candidate and the VP, and making their case. But nobody else doing stuff that's nefarious to tip the scales. Not a good idea. And that's the 8. Remember what I said, 8s go round and round, so they can make you feel crazy. But you know what else goes round and round? Snakes. Let's be careful about the snakes.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Gosh, this whole thing has just been fascinating to watch, that's for sure. So hearing how the numbers show up, how this all plays together is so interesting.
Yes.
And we won't ask you to make a prediction because we know you're going to be appearing somewhere later to make a prediction.
I'm going to jump in. It's Coast to Coast Radio. A lot of your people like Coast to Coast. It's night radio. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
They deal in all kinds of stuff, conspiracy, but also UFOs. But in my case, I'm like a Pollyanna who shows up, with a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah.
But I did say to George the night before, we're going to talk about that final thing, because keep in mind, ladies, even if we go back to July, I had a conversation. This is pretty funny. I was in the backyard, 4th of July, talking to a guy, and I know he's a conservative, and it was like, just expressing how upset he is. He's mad at Trump, and he's mad at Joe, and all of that. I mean, it was very angry. But then I, of course, went funny, because that's what I do, and I made him lighten up. But that was July 4th, and by July 13th, there was that assassination attempt that's being investigated. We still don't know the whole story. We just don't. Which, by the way, I would love to know the whole story. But that happened July 13th. And then by July 21st, Joe Biden stepped down. So
Yeah.
do you see my point about this year? You don't make a prediction per se. I already told you it has an edge in this moment. You do get to that finish line. You know, the night before, it's going to be clear in a way it is not in this moment. And that's our media. You know, this 24/7 media, if you're feeling depressed, anyone listening to this, stop watching. Honestly,
Yep.
go ahead and
Yep.
read a transcript. You don't have to watch this news. It's set up to make you feel scared, have fear, have anger. Don't do that to yourself. You don't have to do that.
So agree.
100% agreement. Yeah.
We even tell people take a diet from it because you feel like you have no power, you have no control, and we do. We have power how we feel, how we respond, and what we put in our mind, and that's what we always encourage with, you know.
You're so right, and we have a lot of power. So going back to like vibrations itself, the reason numerology and the way I do it, it is set up to help you understand why you feel the way you do. It is set up to help you. Maybe someone's upsetting you and you run the numbers and go, oh, I mean, that is my life. I constantly go, oh, yeah, now I get it. But it makes me feel better, right? And if someone, like even when I was teaching the class and one woman had tremendous attitude, not to me as much as she was mad at the room, and I immediately in my mind guessed her number, and it was the number, and it made me feel better. Like I, you know, calmed the class and explained where she was coming from, but I knew the number. So that's what I teach and what I hope for everybody, because what's that saying I say? There is no such thing as a stranger if you've got their number, if you understand, where are they coming from? What is the motivation behind it?
Yeah, I think it goes along to like this. We had the fire solar eclipse where people were just intense with stuff going on, right? So there's an astrology, there's the universe, and I know that numerology, the numbers of the week and the numbers of the year and the numbers of the month, and then your
and the day
numbers, time, all of it plays into it. And like you said, are you looking at numbers and seeing the numbers pop up that are those reminders? And I think we don't realize how much we're affected by these vibrations.
And I would say to you that again, those that are sensitive, and they tend to be people who follow your work, my work, anyone who is like the new age healers, anyone who has stuff to give, they tend to attract sensitive people. And those sensitive people don't realize they're picking up the dirt that's out there. Stop. Just there are so many great tools to stop it. And you have to, otherwise, well, first of all, you're going to get sick. And that's the other thing I want to say. I counsel all the time, and doing reads, it's my jam. But I will have someone like maybe they're really angry and there's someone they're supporting and they're very upset. And then finally I get them off of that. And I finally go, well, how are you feeling? Oh God, I'm sick. I'm depressed. I'm miserable. My back went out. I got to get a knee replacement. I'm like, more coffee? Would you like cream in your coffee? Because do you understand what you've done to yourself? Anger is never good news. As a matter of fact, if someone's angry at you and you get angry with them, you lose. You automatically lost. You cannot go to their frequency. Yours is a higher frequency if you're not angry. But I teach them to understand, you got to let that go because you've internalized it and it's getting you sick. And I'm obsessed with people not doing that because I see it all the time. And I've seen it. I think the pandemic played a role in that. Yes. We lost our rhythm. We didn't have the life we used to have. And it hurt people because they fell into certain rabbit holes. And the rabbit hole can be dangerous. But the good news is you can pull yourself out. You don't have to stay there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much our entire program is helping people get out of their own way, just like that. Yeah. So
and how strongly are you feeling it this year, ladies? Like what are you seeing in energy? Does their level of being upset, do you feel it's a little heightened this year?
Yeah, I think what I'm noticing is people want to get to the root of it faster than they did a few years back. I think whether it's people are communicating better or our vibrations change, so we hold space in a different way. But I feel like people are like, wait a minute, this is what's happening. And they're becoming more vulnerable to want to really put that healing work onto it, which before it might take us months or weeks or months to get there, where now I'm seeing it like within a couple of weeks in the program.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. But it might be that they're already at their wits' end. Like they realize I have been living like this, feeling that I've been in the pity pool,
Yes.
been miserable. I hate my life. Help me out of this. Get me out of here.
That's
Yeah.
exactly.
And I do want to talk about what we can expect in these months coming up for year's end.
Right.
So let's just talk about what's happening.
Yeah,
As I said, we're in
please.
October. I love October. Don't you feel it? Doesn't October, for you personally, doesn't it feel good in some way? I love it.
Yeah.
Of course, I married Charlie October 30th, and I certainly picked the date. But when I go outside and there's a wind, the wind to me is so magical. There's a mystical thing happening. So that 10, when you look at the 1 and then you look at the 0, I always do this, an O, or a 0, it invites your intuition. It's like an opening. So you can literally say, if you're feeling trouble, maybe go outside, wherever there's nature's beauty, just say, what's going on with me? You know, what should I do? Should I make that phone call? Is that person worth my time? And you know what's funny? Sometimes you'll get hurt. Maybe there's something you didn't even want to do, but you were under the impression they wanted you, and suddenly they don't call, and now you're upset. Stop it. You didn't want to do it anyway.
Stop it.
So if you're honest with yourself, you're good. So that's the 10. It invites us to go to that true place and also regroup. If you felt like you didn't accomplish much this year, you got these 3 months. Write it down. Write down the goals. You can still achieve them. And then next month, November, remember the lines. When I see 11, doorway of opportunity. What are you going to do in November? You know, what can you work on? Again, it can be relationship. It can be health. It can be business. But you have work to do, and then you decide what matters most to me. And also healing you, self-love. You know that saying they when they talk about love, they're like, you won't find good love unless you love yourself. I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. I believe you can be broken and be blessed to meet a good person and then heal while you're together. I've seen it over and over. Yes, you should work on you. If you're single and you've never met anybody, you bet you need to focus on self-love because something really went wrong. But I have seen couples who came together like 14 and 15 years old, and now they're 50 or 60, and they grew so much together and became better people because of each other. That is also vibration. And then
Dana keeps hoping Dana keeps hoping I will grow up. That's what she's
waiting. Wait, what is it?
Dana keeps hoping I will grow up. That's what she's waiting for.
Okay, so here's what's great about my microphone. I thought you said Dana keeps hoping I will throw up. I'm like, no, she want her to throw up.
To grow up. Yeah, to grow up.
Okay, so note to Dana, it's not going to happen. Dana is never going to grow up.
Dana.
Yeah, she is romper room. That her energy, especially when she's in her zone, is just a happy kid. That's going to be there forever.
That's good.
Yes, it actually is. And then we go to December. So you deal with, it's my favorite month for the wrap up because it's got 1, 2 becoming 3. So that means you can make the magic. 1 points to your ambition. 2 is about connecting and feeling love with each other. And 3 means if you haven't been expressing yourself, it invites you to. So maybe you've been super busy, you didn't connect with your friends, people you love, you make it happen. Have your dinner party, right? If it's family you're not connecting with, meet with your family, do stuff, because that month does actually invite you to do it. And then a big important message for you. If you have siblings or there's parties you feel obligated to go to, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and every time you do it, you're depressed by them, don't you dare go. You send them beautiful flowers, send them a card, let them know you love, and then do something better for yourself. Don't ever put yourself in harm's way again and again under the guise of, it's family. Yeah, whatever. Did Charlie Manson have a family? Charlie Manson's family? It's not always. Not always.
That resonates. That resembles us, actually.
I had a student the other day talking about, a new life and what she does for her kids are grown and what to do for the holidays. And I said, make up your own new traditions.
Yes.
And we have another student that she took with a friend. They went on a cruise. I think sometimes we think it has to look the old way, and that's not who we are anymore. When we've done all this work on ourselves.
Yes, it's duty obligation. Obligation. You don't have to do that.
No, we don't have to do that. We go back to these old patterns. We don't need to go back to old patterns.
No, you
No.
don't. And even let's say maybe at the beginning of the month, or maybe you had this plan in place for a few months and suddenly it really feels bad. Like maybe you're a few weeks out. It's okay. It's okay to cancel. What's not okay, you can't cancel the day of or the week of. It's not fair. But you can give notice, say, I'm going to do something or whatever you have to say. That's up to you. But I'm telling you, if you hear an inner voice saying, I don't want to go, I don't want to see her, I don't want to see him, listen to that. Listen to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Trust your intuition, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and trust your heart. Protect your heart. I marvel. I know you do this too, Deb, but I do it daily when I hear about someone who got sick. It's not like any of us, we can all get sick, right? That's the other thing about being a healer. When we internalize, we certainly can get sick like anybody else. So then you have to work on it and go, what did I let fall into me? What fell into me so deeply that I got sick? And then what do I do to forgive that, to let it go? And that's where Louise Hay is my love of my life, one of my favorite humans. Lived, in her 50s. She had the terminal cancer. She lived to be 90 because she realized she was angry. Her husband cheated on her and divorced her, that she was molested as a kid. When she went through all that forgiveness, her body there was no cancer. When she went back to the hospital, nothing was there. I believe that with my heart and soul. And I always want that for people who are feeling sick. If it's the knee, it's the neck, it's the back, you have ways to heal yourself. And in my book, Glynis Has Your Number, I cover that. Healing by the numbers. Yeah. I give you
Beautiful.
affirmations for whatever's going on with you. And it works.
Yes, it does. It's magic.
Big believers.
Yes.
So a couple days ago, you and I spoke, Glynis, and we talked about a new venture. We're not going to share right now, but we talked about a new venture and
Yes.
the 555, that it was a 5, I think it was double 5s, a natural match into itself. So guess what I've been seeing over the last several days?
Right? Have you been seeing the
555? 5,
Yes.
yes, 5 everywhere. So
yes. And what it ultimately was, it was 551.
that's
so what
right.
does that mean? The soul of it was a 5, the personality is a 5, but it adds up to 1, and 1 means number 1 at what you do. The fact that power name number of the title is compatible to you and to Deb, that's the sign I look for. Because if it was a caution or no good, I'd say no. It's not hard for me to say no if I think it's going to be bad for the people.
No. And I think
I'm talking to, right? But in your case, look, 5 means no dull moments. You already know that. This project you're working on, there will be no dull moments. And as I warned and cautioned, I said the shadow side is drama, unnecessary. Okay, so it's your job to keep it grounded. And I also said when you find your property, make sure you're picking a 2, a 3, or a 6 to keep it lovely. That when these people come to your actual place, it's already saying you're here to heal. You're in a safe environment to heal. And then the 1 just means word of mouth. If it's successful, people will talk about it. Hey, no, you need help. I know a place for you to go to. So it is the mind numbers, which means you both are growing and learning as you do it.
Mic drop on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learning as we go. Yes, exactly.
That's how it's set up. It wants you to.
So what do you have coming up, Glynis? Is there anything you have coming up?
Calendar season, ladies. And my calendars are everything. So those go on. We start doing pre-orders in November. That'll be on the website, numberscity.com. Those calendars, my favorite thing, every year I get letters. I picked what I call the sunny day symbol, but it's just energy that's compatible to you. I got knee surgery. He said it would take 6 weeks to heal. After 2 weeks, I felt great. It's always when it's better. And so I help you navigate your life by the numbers, and I do it for you. The symbols are there. Amazing. There's also, caution days. What it means is the day is not in alignment with you. It doesn't mean you can't have a good day, but it's already telling you back up. If someone's rude to you, you don't engage them. Not on a caution day, and then it works out nicely. And then the other one is when it's a good day for you to get things done, but don't count on someone else. And that's important to know. So I'm very excited. Those are coming up, 2025 calendars. And then I'm going to be doing, of course, my numerology workshop. We just had one, which ladies, you have to come sometime.
Yes.
You will love this class. The way it is, first of all, ridiculously psychic. We had patterns. Like these 3 women became best friends in 5 seconds. They were 999. That was their life path. Just sitting there. They didn't know each other, but they felt like they knew each other forever. And then on the other side, it was a man and 2 girls, 7 life paths, 7 destiny, 5 maturity. I'm like, come on. Numbers find each other. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
So I've got that coming up.
Can
Go
you do
ahead.
it? Is it all done in person or can you do it online with?
Well, no, I do stuff, of course, online, especially because of the pandemic, right? Who thought of Zoom until we had no choice but to think of Zoom?
Right.
Yes, I do online numerology workshops. I'll let you know when, but in person,
Yes.
it's
We'll fly out to
perfect.
Cali. We'll fly out to Cali and be with you.
You would love it. And not to mention, who said I wasn't coming to Colorado? I could easily end up doing something there. So I'll let you know.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
And then finally, again, going back to it, the numerology report is about you. What are your 6 numbers? What is your destiny number? And then if there's someone you want to know about, it could be a boss, someone you work with. You're like, why is it such a clash? Or why do I feel nervous with that person? That's always soulmates is what I call it, but it really is a chart comparison. So if they type Deb in the promo code, they get a discount. But and it's already inexpensive. They're only $19.95, girls. And now I feel like Earl Shack. Tell you what I'm going to do. Really. So I keep it low for one reason, because I want them to read it and go, oh my gosh, this resonates.
Yes.
This is a part of who I am. It's a fun world to enter.
I love it. I love it. I just love and adore hanging with you. Jane and I always get excited. Like, we're going to have Glynis. We're going to hang with Glynis. So.
Well, and how about natural match, natural match, natural match, the 3 of us. Yes. So even people watching, that's what natural match looks like. It's not hard. Right. It's just a conversation. It's a flow.
Yeah, yes. I agree. Well, we love you. We love you. Get your calendars, because it's numberslady.com is Glynis's website. Jump on there. We're going to grab ours.
Yes.
Going to have it handy. We need it.
Yes. When you make those decisions, even the day that you open your business, you know what I mean? Like when you launch something, always pick a day that's compatible to you. Right. You don't, why would you make it harder on yourself? And I am going to say, sometimes we get booked to do something that's not a good day, but that's all right. That means if anything comes up, you can smile and say, it's okay. It's just a caution. Because the caution days don't last. That's just a day. Yeah.
Awareness. Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, thank you once again. We appreciate you.
Thank you both for having me.
Hopefully we have you back soon.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you.